Hey there. We'll get to this Love in Lebanon episode shortly, but wanted to pass along two quick pieces of information. First, after taking some time off for the summer, we're releasing weekly podcast episodes every Tuesday morning. Second, if you listen to the Love in Lebanon pod on Stitcher, you'll need to find another platform because Stitcher is going away for good at the end of August. That's it. That's the information. Now on to the episode. The Boys and Girls Club has had Lebanon roots since 1953. In episode 129 of the Love in Lebanon podcast, we get an update from CEO Eric Richards. Richards gives details on the growing number of children attending the club and the club's need for more space. He also shares why adding additions for teens is so important to the BGC. Episode 129 of the Love in Lebanon podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast. I'm Joe LePage, the Community Development Director. We're talking about the kids. We're talking about the kids on this edition of our Love in Lebanon podcast. We've got Eric Richards. He is the CEO of Boys and Girls Club of Boone County. Eric, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Joe, thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here.
We were talking before we hit record, Lebanon, Whitestown, Zionsville, all the units under one umbrella, and you're relatively new on the job, and you went from one job straight into this one. Fire hose much? Drinking from that thing? How's that going so far?
Yeah, so 3 months tomorrow, it'll be August. Yeah, so 3 months tomorrow will be in the role, and it is like drinking out of a fire hose. But it's been great to see and sort of be entrenched into summer camp, where we have 400 kids at the 3 units every day, 11 hours a day, and seeing all the activity, being able to sort of take a step back and just sort of take it all in versus providing a ton of input of changes and things like that, and just seeing how the staff reacts to things and all their talents and treasures, and all the 3 units are very distinct and their geography, but also Lebanon's different than Zionsville is different than Whitestown, and there are the political leadership is different, and so getting to know folks in the community has really been a big focus area of mine, and just getting out and meeting with people and talking about what we're trying to accomplish as an organization and how we need to grow to serve the need that's out there in the community.
And as we transition and taken from the summer into the school year, if you can kind of talk about herding all those cats in a loving way. You talked about the just kind of drinking from the fire hose and having all the kids, but it really seems like a labor of love and a fun job being able to be around so many young people and having a chance to pour into their lives. Yeah,
I mean, being able to affect a young person in a lot of cases for the rest of their lives because they spend years with us in our program is obviously extremely rewarding for our people, and we don't do it for the money. Our people don't do it for the money. They do it because of the love of the mission. So the transition from some summer camp back to the school year, I've not been through that yet, but I know our staff, that's a welcome transition for them because it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. You're with open 11 hours a day, 5 days a week. So we serve a critical need. While it is child care, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it, we have a curriculum. It's not just a free for all and your kids going crazy all day. There is method to the madness, as they say, in the work that we do. So, and then in the school year, we provide that critical care in Lebanon before school and then after school. So we're transporting kids to and from either the club to school or school to the club. We're also providing sustenance, and what I mean by that is food. And so breakfast and dinner for a lot of kids, especially in Lebanon. So that's the unique setup that we have here where we're sitting right now. But then also in Zionsville, we have the after-school care, and then the Whitestown after-school care as well. And so parents have a place to send their kid, safe space where they're going to be supervised and actually go through a curriculum. So if they need homework help, if they want to roll up their sleeves and get involved in the community service, and we have programs that teach kids about the importance of giving back to the community, and then a plethora of other programs and services that are available, all at an affordable cost. So, in Lebanon, as an example, we have a lot of kids on scholarship who don't pay a thing to go. And so their parents can rely on us to provide that space for them.
You talked about the scholarship there, and if we can pull on that thread a little bit, Eric. Again, everybody, we're talking with Eric Richards. He is the CEO of BGC of Boone County, the Boys and Girls Club. The food insecurity need here in Lebanon specifically, you talked about scholarship, and if you can educate some folks that may not know and may be finding this out maybe for the first time on this podcast, there is a high level of food insecurity in our community, and so I know that what you guys offer at the Boys and Girls Club in the Lebanon unit is really a life-changing and a life-improving sustenance. You mentioned it right there for our young people to help sustain life for them and help them live it abundantly.
Yeah, and there's a high percentage in Lebanon schools in general of kids who qualify for free and reduced lunches, and we see even higher percentage. It's one of those things where if a parent knows that their kid can get something to eat at low or no cost, they're going to send them where they can. And so we see even higher percentage of folks that walk through our families that walk through our front door who would qualify for those kinds of programs and services. And so that's why we rely so much on donations, grants, those funds that help us to be able to afford the resources necessary to serve meals.
Yeah, the next question I had was about those community partners. It seems like there are so many that get into your heartstring moment in just a second, but there are so many entities within our community that have that desire, have that need to help out young people and do that on a daily basis for our young people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really overwhelming as I kind of look at our roles. And what I mean by roles is the lists of donors and et cetera that we have. It's just amazing the number. I think of was driving by. I'm new to Boone County. My family and I've lived in Boone County about 4.5 years, so I'm still learning. But like the Milky Way is a sponsor of our golf outing, and it's the well-known ice cream place.
Oh, yeah.
in Lebanon, and so just those kinds of entities and organizations who've really gotten behind the club to help us serve more kids. So it's phenomenal. And then even with Lilly and Flora, with the project that's going on up there, we found out this week that Lilly Corporation is going to help fund Gravy Chase in November for us. So they're supporting us, and that's really thrilling to have somebody new partner with us like that.
Absolutely. Everybody, we're talking with Eric Richards. He's the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Boone County, the Lebanon, Whitestown, Zionsville units. You mentioned earlier, Eric, about not making a whole lot of money with in this role, and a lot of the folks that just love on kids and are willing to have so many during the course of the summer, 11 hours per day being open and now transitioning into the school year. What is it about the young people that kind of tugged at you to be able to take this role with the Boys and Girls Club in all three units and kind of being the head guy there?
Well, I'll talk about the staff first. And what's interesting is I'm a club kid. And so when you talk to our staff, many of them grew up in the Boys and Girls Club. So they already have this incredible passion for what we're trying to accomplish as an organization. And so there's no sell that you have to make in order to transition them from
no arm twisting,
club kid. No. So we have people that come back, that are school teachers in the summertime when they're not at school, who were club kids who are supporting. So that's been a really interesting and different experience for me and what I've done, in my previous roles. So as I mentioned, my family and I have been in Boone County for about 4.5 years. And that first year during the pandemic, when I think we all had these philosophical conversations with ourselves about, do I need to reinvent myself? Do I want to reinvent myself? And at that time, I thought, if there ever comes a time, I had a great gig at the Cancer Support Community of Indiana. I was there for almost a decade. But I thought to myself, if there's ever a chance or an opportunity to change up, I think working with kids would be really, really cool and really rewarding. And so I was contacted by a headhunter about the role, and I told my wife, and then 3 years later, of course, told my wife, I was like, I think I want to kind of see this through. Our kids are in schools here. We live here. Our address, I pay property taxes to Boone County, So, I had also opened a new office of the former organization I was at in Bloomington. And I joked around a lot and saying, gosh, it would be kind of fun just to run this office, because I really love that neighborly community feel that we got there. That's really hard to obtain in Indianapolis just because of the sheer size, geographically and population wise. And so that kind of fit in with this role. And so for me, when I was having these conversations with the board and the headhunter, it became clearer that this was a great opportunity for me, and I'm going to see it through. And if it doesn't work out, I'm in a great gig. But if it does, then I'm going to transition into something new that can help kids.
Still early on, but how's it gone so far? Is it what you were hoping or what you were expecting when you took that leap of faith and had that moment to make a transition?
Yes. I think Boys and Girls Clubs in general, and a lot of human service organizations, they don't always have a lot of maybe sophistication, for lack of a better term. And so technology-wise, there are some upgrades that we can be making. But from a fundraising resource development perspective, continue to grow, we need to have systems, and we need to invest in ourselves in order to grow to the level that we can be, where we're upgrading our facilities. We have a major need there. All 3 locations, we have need. In Lebanon, we're landlocked. We're bursting at the seams. If you haven't been in the Boys and Girls Club at Lebanon, check it out sometime, and you can see for yourself. There's no green space. We'd love to have more of that. Zionsville, same kind of deal, where we've got a brick facade that needs to be replaced. We need a new roof. HVAC equipment needs to be replaced, and we could use a renovation. Same there. Would love to have a better outdoor area, a more dedicated space for teens. We could attract those 6th, 7th, and 8th graders who really could use us and utilize our programs and services. And then Whitestown, we have some HVAC needs there, but we also have some green space there that could be developed into additional building, teen space, administration space, more places for kids to go, et cetera. So there's really a lot of opportunity. And so right now we're soon to be sitting down, having a conversation, a really deep strategic planning discussion on where we're headed as an entity. So I do know that facilities will be a major part of that discussion and how we move forward.
And I'm guessing this isn't just a new CEO saying this is my wish list, I want to make it happen. This is a board also driven. You guys are running in congruency to be able to have this hopefully come to fruition for all 3 units?
Yeah, absolutely. And they hired me because of my track record and creating innovation, growth, and doing things, I think in a way that's going to get the word out better about the Boys and Girls Club of Boone County. And that is my networking skills, et cetera, background. So I think coupled with they know the need and what those are. They've done assessments. The United Way has been great and helped us pay for a major building assessment in the last 12 months. So they've done some of the groundwork needed to kind of really identify on paper, here's what we need. But they brought me in to be the conduit, I think, to be out and about, engage the board with me in conversations, like with Mayor Gentry that we just had a couple weeks ago, as an example, just to make sure that they know here's what's going on, here's where we want to be, here's how we want to grow or think we can grow, and then how can we partner to make that happen.
Yeah. And everyone, if you are driving on West Main Street and you see, it's kind of a purplish building, you want to say?
It was purple at one time, and not to make fun of us, but that's, we could use a paint job.
Yeah, the paint job. And then if you look across the street as well, everybody, next to the Cragen House, the folks at the Boys and Girls Club, the Lebanon unit, have made pretty good use. You mentioned that the lack of green space, that's more or less kind of an urban outdoor space for the kids, because you are jam-packed there.
Yeah, it is. And I have to thank the Parks Department for loaning us some of the barriers that we were able to put up in that parking lot to create an extra space this summer, because we did not have the room to accommodate the number of kids that we had coming in every day. So it got a little hot in some of the warm days. We've had a fairly decent
summer. That
summer.
asphalt will do that to you. Yeah,
last,
it's a hot one.
I was there, and you cram 80 kids into our main area, and the air conditioning, I think it was a 77, and we had it, that's about as best it could do to keep up with that many kids over there. So it's something that it's going to be the need is going to need to be met sooner rather than later. So this is not a 5-year plan as much as it is a 2 or 3 year, I think.
Yeah.
Where we're going to have our marching orders and our strategic direction that we're going to be headed as an organization.
And I think what you're talking about earlier, the goal is to utilize your ability to make connections and to connect people to be able to help make that happen in the 2 to 3 year span. That's going to maximize the improvement effort that's needed for the young people and for the BGC club and units going forward.
Absolutely. And I think, especially let's talk about Lebanon for a second. We've been in this community for over 60 years.
Yeah, I was looking at the backstory. What started in 1953, ever since then, been here.
So we've been here. There are a lot of people in town who haven't been engaged with us in a while. Boy, it would be great to re-engage some of the folks that either through over time or, I know there was a merger that happened a few years ago. We lost some folks with that, but really, we're trying to grow. We're here for the community, and we want to be part of the lives of every family that lives in the community and within this county, and especially those that we're not serving. At Webo or other communities within the county, but we need people to help support us and get behind us to do that. And so one of my goals is to re-engage with some of the primary people that have been so impactful for us over the years.
Gotcha. Well, as we kind of take the final turn with this podcast, I'm going to go ahead and give you a figurative magic wand, if you don't mind. And if things do align, and everybody will give you information on how to just get in contact with Eric and maybe have that conversation to re-engage if you haven't been with the Boys and Girls Club. But with that magic wand, if there are those connections that are made, how does the Lebanon unit specifically, but dabbling into Whitestown, because we do have Whitestown families and kiddos that spend quite a bit of time here in Lebanon, what does the club look like? We mentioned technology and wanting to keep that as cutting edge as possible, and mentioned the bursting at the seams issue and things like that. What is, in 2 to 3 years, what does a slam dunk look like for you?
Yeah, I think, the hard part is we're in a great location, so you don't want to lose the nearness to the city center.
Yep, proximity, if you guys are great, well aligned.
But can we find another space that would be similar, potentially, to where we can grow? We can have that dedicated teen center, and we're not cramming our teens into a small room. The staff here, Catherine is our unit director. She's phenomenal, and everybody is working with what they have to work with and making the most out of that. So kudos to them for their efforts there. But having a dedicated space for teens to go would be incredible. That we have more space for eating, like a cafeteria type situation, more green space to where we have playground equipment, a gazebo or a shelter house where we could utilize outside even more. That's not a parking lot, really a dedicated space. So, something maybe twice the size of what we have now. Really, I think it would be a dream scenario for us. We're still able to get kids to and from, but it's a much bigger space. So where that is, what that is, there's no example that I could give today of where that might be or what that might be. But that's kind of if I had a magic wand, we would create a space that's sort of described like that. And then same with the other two. Whitestown has room to grow. We actually have some land there, so it's the opposite issue. Yeah. We can utilize that more in same kind of deal. If we could create a teen center, we're really looking at getting into esports. And if you don't know, esports is become a big deal around the country at universities and colleges that now have degree programs or minor.
You can get a scholarship, an esports scholarship, like an athletic one.
So isn't it behoove us to think about adding a program that could sort of act as a feeder for local colleges and universities, as an example, and then also attract teens? Our biggest issue now is we don't have a real separate area for a 14-year-old to come in and not have to be with a 5-year-old, because that's the detractor. Number one detractor is that our teens, that's not cool to hang out with a 5-year-old.
Yeah, the teen center is not exclusively for teens.
Exactly. Yeah. So we need to be looking at that and being cognizant. So what will attract teens? We think esports is going to be one of those. So we're going to set up a beta test at Whitestown unit in the coming months. not years, coming months, where we're going to have, I think, be able to test out what a site could look like at each of the other 2 locations as well, and then see what kind of feedback that we get from teens. And really want to concentrate on surveying teens to understand what they want. And once we understand that and we can implement those programs and services, then we think that sort of the build it and they will come scenario in place.
And how much does it align with your personality? You seem like a person that's wanting results and not wanting to kind of sit and keep that vehicle in park running, but go down a route, see if something works, do some beta testing like you mentioned. Kind of a fun challenge to be able to see a need and being able to know that you assess or you possess the tools to be able to help make it happen.
Yeah, no, it's one of the reasons I took the job, right? Okay. It was the opportunity. I see the opportunity, the growth in the county, right? And that means more dollars coming in for donations, right? And then 2, or most importantly, more families, which means more kids, which means more opportunity for our organization to serve those families. And so, it's the innovation is what's exciting, and that's why the board brought me in, because they looked at my track record and seen what I've been able to do and accomplish in my career over the last 25 years. So.
Mm-hmm. And looking for doing that, having the same results here.
Yeah, I mean we're heading that direction, I think. So
Best place for people to get in touch with you specifically. Everybody, I'm going to put the information on the Boys and Girls Club. I'm looking at bgcboone.org right there. Boom, that's the website. They do a great job on Facebook as well, social media. But Eric, if they want to reach out to you specifically, you're okay if I pass along your information along the body of this podcast as well?
Yeah, I think the website's really the easiest because it contains the numbers for the 3 respective units right there on the homepage at the bottom. So you'll be able to get those phone numbers pretty quickly there. That's the best way to reach us. But also reach out on Facebook, social media. We have a LinkedIn page where we just hired a new communications and development coordinator. One of her main roles is going to be to sustain our website, our social media presence, our search engine optimization, et cetera. And so having talk about sophistication, we're going to be more sophisticated on that front as she starts actually this Thursday to help us out. So which is much needed. And
I don't need to tell you that stuff matters. Just the presence that you or your organization puts out online does matter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love to start doing some just innovative things with TikToks and some of the programs that we're offering, but also for once esports gets kicked off, imagine kids scrolling through their Facebook Reels or TikTok or what have you and see some of the cool things that are happening at the Boys and Girls Club, and they have an opportunity and affordable. I mean, you cannot understate the affordability factor of the Boys and Girls Club. This summer it was amazing. Our daily summer camp, $125 a week. I mean, and then for those who qualify, we offer scholarships. So we had a number of kids not paying anything for summer camp all summer long.
And as you mentioned, it's not just babysitting. It's not just kids sitting. There's a curriculum there. There was so much to do and offer that you guys do with the Boys and Girls. Eric, thanks for taking some of your time. Really appreciate it. Everybody, I'm going to put Eric's info and the BGC, all that stuff in the body of the podcast. All you have to do is just scroll right through. There it is. And you're able to click on it and maybe send Eric an email or find out more information online. But appreciate you taking the job and being willing to invest in the lives of our young people.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much for the opportunity. This has been great.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to this podcast. More episodes are coming your way soon. Take care.